Hi guys. Anyone who's watched my channel for any length of time will know that these are one of my favourite little bikes of all. They're the Honda CL350. The CLs were sold in America but were never sold in Europe. Although some of them may have been sold in Italy, but I've never had that proven. Anyway, we never got them in the UK. We got the CBs. The CBs fell into a sort of camp between being desirable as a teenager and not being so desirable once you'd passed your test, because our laws at the time allowed you to ride up to a 250. So once you'd passed your test on a 250, you didn't want a 350. You wanted something with a lot more grunt, so everyone stepped straight up to 500s or 650s or something bigger. And the 350s were a bit kind of unloved. That's not the case now. You know, nobody cares really what size. Once you get over 125, it's all much the same. So these are one of my favourite little bikes. They're beautifully engineered little bikes. They're so well made, so robust, and the build quality is absolutely outstanding. This one here, the blue one, is one I've done recently, and you can see how it's turned out. It's a lovely little bike. This one here is a bit more careworn, as you'd expect. I've not done anything to it at all yet. No idea if it runs. Well, it doesn't run just now. And it's been parked up for a long time, as is evidenced by all the corrosion on the aluminium, the state of the shocks here. It's in a bit of a sad way. However, I think it's a good little bike underneath all this, and I think it's going to make a really pretty bike. It's a lovely colour, this when it's done. From where you're standing now, it looks a lot better than it is because the paintwork's quite nice, but it's got its share of problems. So let's walk round it now. We'll have a look at the problems with it, and then I'll get it in there, we'll get its panels off, and I'll put a battery on it, and let's see what it needs to get a run out of it and what else it might need. Okay, here's our little CL350 we're going to start on next, and let's have a look at it and see what it's got going for it and what's against it. In terms of what's against it, indicators are missing, it's not a big deal. It's looking really quite sad on the hubs and legs. The wheels don't look great. It's got the usual situation where that part's been at the bottom of the wheel when it's been standing, and it's quite badly corroded. Will it come back? I don't know. The engine casings are very tired looking, and there's some aluminium corrosion there. Nothing that won't polish out, I'm sure, and clean up. That's alright. Exhaust clamps aren't nice. The paintwork is in reasonable condition. It's a bit scabby on top. I will have it repainted because I always do, and it just brings them back nicely. You know, trying to match that, there's a slight colour difference between those two. Under the seat, it's all there. Very dusty. I think it's just been sitting in someone's shed forever and ever and ever. The shocks have had it, doesn't matter, they're cheap enough. The rear mudguard isn't the best. Will it come back? I don't know, that remains to be seen. And the back wheel, once again, is suffering from the same thing of all the moisture having gathered in the bottom of the wheel, and it may have corroded the chrome to a point where it won't come back, which is a shame. Never mind, it's what it is. Worse still, the exhausts, that's shot to buggery, but there's a hole in that there. Good thing is I've got one of those, so that's not the end of the world. That's been repaired there, which isn't great. The top one is impossible to find, well, almost impossible to find. Saying that, I've actually got some because I keep an eye out for them, and I bought a bike with 2 exhausts on, so I'll have that here in a couple of weeks, and I'll be able to use that. Front fender again, not great. It's got a funny thing going on with the clutch here. There's no resistance there at all. There's a tiny bit of springiness in it, but the clutch isn't working as it should. I don't know if it's just a problem just within here, or it's something deeper, but one step at a time. But what's it got really going for it? Look at that. 7,681 miles. And it's a one-owner bike, believe it or not. One owner from 1972. I didn't even know myself until I looked at the title the other day, so that's a real point in its favour. So the tyres have had it, but you know, you would expect that anyway. But looking at the tyres, they are the original tyre variant. I should say gold seal on them somewhere. There we are, Bridgestone there. and it's written down, and they're cracked, they're shot, but I do think it's an utterly genuine bike. So it's got a lot going for it in some ways. So let's get it in the shop. I'll get the panels off and we'll get those away for paint. Let's have a look at it now and see if I can get a run out of it. The engine's free, as I'll show you. Hang on. And it has some compression. It's not got tons of compression, but that's not surprising given it's been had such a massively long layout. You know, the piston rings will be dry, so I'll put some oil in the cylinders and let's have a look at the carbs. And I think we'll get a run out of this, but let's see. Watch this space. Right, we've got this little 350 up on the stand, and I've got the seat off because it's just easier to work in here when you're doing it. Got the tank and panels off, and I'm getting some encouraging signs. The little clips that hold the balance pipe and the fuel pipes onto the fuel tap are original, they've never been off. The clevis pins and R-clips that hold the seat on are original, they've never been off. And it's all quite encouraging that, you know, we've not had the hand of the amateur idiot in there wrecking stuff. So let's just see what I want to do now. I'm going to put a battery on it. We're a bit cramped in here today. I'm going to put a battery on it, but I don't know what's in the carburettor, if anything. I took some fuel out. Yeah, there's a kind of oily residue in there that's usual kind of varnishy crap, but I took the fuel out of the tank, and the fuel that was in bore more resemblance to engine oil than anything else. I don't know if that means it's just the fuel that's evaporated down and that's what I'm left with, or someone's prepped this up for a layover at some point. Maybe I'm being too optimistic there. The choke is free, so that's an encouraging sign. The throttles are free. Once again, positive. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop a battery on it, and let's just see if I can get some sparklers up. If I can get some sparklers up, get some ignition lights and that kind of stuff. We're part of the way there, and let's just see if we get some lights up. I will. There's a new battery. I'll just pop on. If I get some lights up, I'll put a fuel supply on it, and let's just see if we get some fuel into the carburetors. And who knows? Give it a whirl. 2 minutes, guys. Right, guys, I've got a battery on it, and I've connected my fuel supply up. I have no idea. I'm going to switch it on right now and see if we get any ignition lights or anything. No, nothing. Okay. Okay, there's nothing there, so let's just see if the solenoid, the starter motor works. Yes, it does, but with nothing down here at the okay, it may be there's a little fuse sits in here, and this is the live for. Pop that open and just see if there's a fuse in there. Well, the fuse is there, but it may not be. If the bike's been laid up for a long time, who knows? Maybe just not connecting properly. Oh, we've got a headlight. All of a sudden things are working. Hey! Yeah, it was just the fuse that wasn't connecting properly. And we've got an ignition light up, and even the little neutral light works. Do the indicators work? No, they don't. Does the brake light work? Yes, it does. That's good, isn't it? Okay, so we've got a starter motor that works. That works. Have we got anything at the points? I don't know if we have. They're not cracking anyway, so I'll give those a wee clean. And then we'll see if we can get a spark at the point. If we get a spark here, I'll turn the ignition off just now. Save the battery. We'll give the points a wee clean up. 2 minutes, guys, and I'll get some emery cloth and do the do. This is always one of the best parts of any restoration. You're just getting the bike going. So I've got some emery cloth here, and this is actually a bit too coarse for what I'd like to use, but all I'm trying to do is clean the points up sufficiently that we get a contact there, and then that contact will make and break and will allow the coils to generate the spark as we collapse the magnetic field inside the coils. So just give it a wee clean up, and then I'll give my wipe with some clean paper in a moment, and that'll take away any kind of residue. And once again, while I'm in here, I'm seeing these are the original screws. It's all looking very original in here. Do you want a bit of paper now to pull between those and clean them? Have you seen before? You've never a bit of paper when you want one. Here we go, that'll do. And just a piece of ordinary like envelope or something like that is all I need. So I'll pull that through the points, just break them open with my fingers, and I pull that through there, and I can just feel that gripping the points, gripping the paper, and you can see it's pulled quite a lot of residue off the points. So I'll rotate that so that set of points is closed. And we have actually already got better compression up than I had a minute ago. It just feels better when I tried to remove the kickstart there. Okay, not really feeling better. I'll switch it back on and we might hear the spark. No, I don't think we've got any power there. There we are. No, nothing there. I don't get any power down to the points. We had no power to the coils. So with a bit of investigation I found that the reason was that our previous owner is a bit of a handy electrician in his own way, and he'd wired up an isolator to isolate the power from an anti-theft device, if you will, to isolate the power from the coils. So that was kind of down in here, and I'll show you where that was. It was wired in there, as you can see, and it came up into here, and you can just see the back of where the switch was there, and the little switch itself was down in there. I don't know if you can see that. I'll put the point of the screwdriver down in there. It was just there. So that was what was stopping us getting power to the coils. We've now got power through the coils and up to the contact points, and when I switch this on now, we get some lights up there, and press the button and we should have some sparks. So let's give it a whirl. Bingo, we're in business. So, what I'll do now, I've got a fuel supply here, so I'll switch that on, and let's fill the carbs up. My carbs are filling up now, and the carbs were full of the usual kind of coffee coloured residue that you get when they've been stood a long time, whether or not the fuel is going to be of sufficient, whether the carbs are going to be in such a state that they will let the emulsion tubes pass. Fuel remains to be seen. But I'll put these plugs back in. I've done a compression test. I've got good compressions on each side. I've got about kind of 130 each side, which is absolutely great. So I'll pop these back in now. Let's see if we can get a run out of it. I won't be at all surprised if we can't, but it's always nice to have a go. And if it won't start, I'll need to let's just switch that fuel off, because we've got a stick-in float, which is quite normal. If it doesn't want to play, that's okay. I'll pop the carbs off, I'll put them in the sonic cleaner, and rebuild them and set the fuel levels. Well, let's give it a whirl and just see if we can get it to go. I've put spark plugs in before. You wouldn't think so. Oh, that doesn't feel right, I don't like that. I didn't like the feel when it came out, that one actually. Okay, put the chokes on, ignition on. That's encouraging. And it even idles, does it? I better open this door before I choke to death. But that is a fantastic result. The engine sounds absolutely great. Let's just open this door, let some smoke out. Now it's absolutely fantastic news. It runs really, that sounds really sweet. I'm going to run it for a bit longer, get some warmth into it, see if I can adjust the carburetors. I don't expect to be able to do particularly well, and I'll probably take them to bits anyway. But what this tells me is the engine is basically sound. It wants to run, they all want to run. But it sounds really healthy, and fantastic news. Okay, thanks guys. Speak to you in a wee bit. This wee thing's ticking over as sweet as can be, but it's not adjusting very well on the slow running screw. And just given that the carbs look a bit grotty, and I know it's been laid up for a long time, I suspect this bike hasn't run for 20 or 30 years. But as I say, given it's had a long layover without running, I'm going to pop the carbs off and strip them and put them in the sonic cleaner, and let's get them, you know, working really nicely as they should, because they're great little carburetors and these are fantastic little engines. So I've got this far with it. It's a work of kind of 15 minutes to take the carbs off. So I'll get the carbs off now, pop them in the cleaner, and let's start the process of just sorting these out. But one way or another, it's a really great result. I know the engine's basically sound. There's a clutch problem with it. The clutch is stuck, seized, or not working somehow anyway. I don't mean the clutch plates are stuck together. The the clutch mechanism isn't working. When I pull this, it's just, you can just hear that. It's trying to push the actuating rod, but it's not able to do for some reason. So there's that needs looking at. This is loose and hanging off. You know, there's lots to do to it, but we know that basically it's in good health. So great result, and cheers guys, speak to you soon.